question today kind of ties into what's going on in the world with the World Cup and the grouping stage. There tends to be a lot of ties. A lot of people have spoken out against ties, saying ties do not belong in sports. So what do we think about ties? And I know ties are not a thing as the World Cup goes on. It becomes a one-game elimination. But what are our thoughts on ties in sports in general? Sports all out, not just soccer. And what is our solution to
I am against ties in sports for any sport because I think it's unfair to the fans because you tend to go hoping one team will win, and to walk away with no fans getting to celebrate a win seems very strange to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm anti-tie in any sport.
Yeah, right. And then soccer does get a lot of grief from American citizens because of ties. However, ties do happen in football.
You play 90 minutes and there's no score.
Exactly.
You walk away.
There are ties in the NFL which never. I mean, so it's not like it's. I don't know.
Way more common in soccer.
Way more common in soccer, but I mean, ties do happen in other sports. Baseball, though, will literally go on.
Hockey changed the rules. There's no more ties.
No more ties.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So the NFL would do a tie if the score was the same.
Yeah, if they have one overtime period, and then after that, if there's no score at the end of that, it's just a tie.
So one overtime, and that's pretty rare, I suppose.
Yeah, and then that tie basically is the same thing as a loss. It's not really it doesn't do any good. But I don't know.
It's not a loss in soccer though.
Yeah, because they have the point system.
There's a point system. So.
But it's better than a loss, and not as good as a win.
And there's only ties in soccer when it's not a tournament knockout stage.
Yeah,
I was like, when there are tournaments, there's penalty shootouts. So it's like,
and I feel like that's only because of TV time. Because now, early on, more teams are in it. There's only so much time in the day, so many days in the week. You're trying to get everybody their own actual TV time.
I think
you can't allow games to go on for 5 hours because that takes away from other teams. I get why they do it.
I think in soccer it's more or less like how long they're playing, because sometimes you've seen, I don't know if you paid attention to the stoppage times.
Mm-hmm.
FIFA's been very liberal with the stoppage time in this World Cup.
Yeah.
And I mean, there've been 12, 14 extra minutes. That's a long time.
Deserved.
Well, I know. I'm not saying that it's not deserved. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying they've been very liberal. So there's been 14 minutes extra time on a 45-minute half plus the 14 minutes. Yeah. That's a long time to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but for that 14 minutes, though, somebody was getting carted off. They weren't doing it.
Yeah, I know. But
they weren't.
I know. But still.
Do you think, in response to excess, stoppage time or added time that they have, do you think they could just make up for that with just a shootout, a straight up
no.
just like they do in hockey or they used to do in hockey?
I'm not generally a fan of shootouts because it doesn't always determine who played better, who was the better team, and even that's with anything, because even a score doesn't always reflect on who was the better team. Sometimes it's just unlucky.
And that's how the NFL used to be. NFL used to be whoever won the coin toss in overtime could just literally go down half the field, not even kick a field goal, and then the game was over. Which is okay. That doesn't say anything about the other team.
And hockey has the golden goal.
Yeah.
They play their extra period, and whoever scores first.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's 30 seconds, like it was the other night. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they go into shootouts.
I think a secondary question would be, what would be I bet the TV time must be a factor in something, but that is a fair thing. Mm-hmm. And then I was thinking about the scoring structure, things that are higher scoring versus lower scoring would be more prone to ties, and then things dragging on more. I get that. Well, that would be a fun way to resolve what you said, a kind of a more fair way too, when you're facing these ties, because sometimes you get one lucky shot. And that sometimes can determine a whole game.
Yeah,
I feel though
regular time.
Baseball, one lucky swing, makes a career.
It really emphasizes in soccer how hard it is to score, which I think is the appeal of soccer, of why a lot of people like it. Because whenever people start watching, whenever they this person's going down the field, there's a chance here. Everyone stops what they're doing and they watch. That's why.
An extra scoring system. Yeah. Football has different ways you get number. If you get half a point every time it bounces off. What's the phrase? The Post.
Oh,
The field goal?
crossbar,
The goal
Yeah.
bar,
frame.
oh,
the frame.
Yeah.
Bounces off the frame. Like half a point there.
you think that should be? That's not a bad idea, honestly.
and you get a minus. You can deduct at a point when someone like
Could you imagine
flops.
scoring
Obviously.
soccer?
Yeah, I feel like in soccer,
Like a
it wouldn't
football
matter how
score.
big they make the goal. The ball will always hit the post. No, it doesn't matter, or it'll go right over it. It seems that doesn't seem to fail.
Oh, you can't make the goals bigger. That would be unfair for the keeper.
Or like boxing, right? Don't they have various scoring stuff along the way?
You can
Not
draw.
just
Oh, there's like
There's
judges,
Is
right?
it really?
Yeah, I've seen draws in
Hmm.
boxing and
Mhm.
fighting.
Yeah,
Judges are
but that doesn't that usually mean just a rematch later on down?
not always.
Not always.
What about a judging system that can say, well, this team played better even though the score was the same?
Like time of possession.
Like gymnastics?
Well, yeah, but then you're gonna
Yeah.
force
Yeah.
teams to play certain ways.
Yeah, because that's a
The
lot of that is
Yeah,
strategy. A lot of
Yeah.
teams don't try to be overly aggressive. A lot of times they try to like wear the other team out. It's just a whole thing. It's a
So that's when you just start getting into tactics.
yeah. That there's a whole in which what a lot of people enjoy. Same thing with like baseball. A lot of people like that small ball strategy stuff. Not every player tries to swing for the fence and stuff. So I don't know. I'm a fan of shootouts. Like when you watch sports movies, a lot of time the best part of the movie is at the end. Is
true.
when they're doing like,
Mighty Ducks.
and then it's that one
sports movie.
that underdog worst player on the team comes out of nowhere and scores a goal like in a one-on-one situation.
Josh has a feel good sports movie moment.
Yeah.
It's high school
I
soccer.
know. I know. There's a whole article and everything.
Right. I feel like instead of extra innings, maybe baseball should break out into a home run derby. That might be interesting because we like seeing home runs. But I don't know. I like the shootouts. I don't really mind the tie because sometimes I think it's necessary, and then also like me as a sports fan, like I also have other things to do outside of sports. I don't have a lot of time to just dedicate to just watching sports or whatever. So I don't really mind the tie. But if there was a solution to it, I would prefer the kickoff or the shootout or whatever. That's what I would do.
I think I'm gonna stick with the tie because I think ties are usually involved in sports that are you're using your body more.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to have a game go 19 innings or something in a soccer or football game,
Yeah.
how many injuries are you going to leave that game with?
Yeah,
Like,
that's like
I think it's
that's
like
like the equivalent of like a 180-minute game.
I was going to say, I think there's
Yeah, that is a good point. And at what point does the quality of play start to go down?
90th
Ninety
minute.
minutes.
I think I got it. So at the end of a soccer game, if it's tied, to expedite and still give someone a chance to get better, like the goals just slowly get closer and closer.
like that.
And then if there were injuries, the action would speed up. It would still be fair to both
It'd be like a
teams.
hockey goal.
And then
That would make it fast.
and that would kind of speed up towards the end, give someone a chance to win, be pretty fair, help control injuries.
Mhm.
You watching FIFA?
There's gonna be a whole new issue because keepers can almost kick a goal already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It'd be bouncing it back and
Yeah.
forth.
yeah, like,
This is
Or- Keepers behind their back.
So they
Oh
can't
my
use hands
God.
anymore?
no hands and
That'll speed up the end
overtime.
of the game too. And they put maybe a mask on because that could be dangerous.
You could do.
it will still bounce off the post.
I don't
It would
mind
be
the
harder to
ties.
stop.
Yeah.
Harder to stop.
I don't mind the ties in the group stages.
I
Yeah.
don't mind them in any game.
Sometimes
I
it's a little frustrating when
Mhm.
it's like regular game, but it doesn't. It's a point system for
Yeah.
soccer at least.
Yeah.
In hockey does like
But
goal
and
and
then
goal
also, you just have to go have the mindset that soccer is not going to be high scoring. It's going to be physical
Yeah.
and it's going to be low scoring most
Yeah.
games. If it's a good competitive game, it's not going to be a lot of scoring. And if you're going to become a soccer fan, I think you should probably just
Could you say that?
embrace that
Yeah,
a
that's
little
fair,
bit.
but-
That's what
I'll give them
people's
that.
beef is about, like all the
Best
time.
haircuts.
I don't like how you say soccer's low scoring because
Football.
like the game just ended 2-1, and we've seen football games in 16-17, and that's no different than a 2-1 soccer.
Yeah, but like
It's just
scoring
the-
4 times is still more than
Yeah, but you could.
and on
change it.
average.
Well,
Like
you
the
can change
average
a touchdown at one point.
Like they
Yeah.
say, like the average score of a NFL is about like what 42 points.
Well, yeah,
That still averages more actual scoring than a soccer game.
that's true.
But there is very much more play. That was good English. There's a lot more play in soccer than there is football.
And they definitely. I mean,
Yeah, and I'm not saying that makes it bad.
No.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying that makes
But
it
that's
bad.
some
That makes
people's-
it more harder, more actual challenging.
Yeah.
Like
That's a
I don't see why.
That's
Like
like for soccer.
yeah, I do
Yeah.
notice that it is a touchy subject around soccer fans that it's low scoring.
Yeah.
But just because it's low scoring, that doesn't really mean it's a bad thing. That just
Yeah.
means it's more challenging.
But that was my mom's beef, though. Was like, you said.
I was like, most people will say that.
Yeah.
We made her watch soccer on Thanksgiving, and she's like, "So it's just a tie?"
Yeah.
She didn't understand. I'm like, "Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a
because
tie."
if you have
Because who
two
won? I was like,
teams,
they both did.
if a soccer game is 14-14, you're probably thinking you're watching an MLS game, or you're probably watching something worse. You're probably questioning the level of play.
Is that a sore spot saying it's a low scoring sport?
No,
that's not
because
bragging like the ability or the skill or anything. Like you could say basketball is a high scoring sport. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah,
just what it
Yeah.
is.
It's just
Right.
the sport.
Yeah, it's just
I don't
a
have an
sport.
issue with soccer. I've heard it all. I mean, growing up, as a soccer player,
Lawn
you
30.
hear it all. So I have thick skin to that stuff now, but yeah, it doesn't really bother people that are like
You get over
keep
it.
up with the sport and play it, very familiar with it. So
I don't
it's part of the game, is what it is. I don't maybe disagree. I disagree with ties and probably everything but soccer. It's so ingrained. It's part of the culture. 38-week seasons. You play once a week. I think a tie works. I think it works in soccer.
Yeah, I agree.
And they make it a point for both. So
Mhm.
it's like, it is useful in a way.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're like,
And then it gets fun because then it can go down to goal differentials and all of that.
yeah.
If they start tying the lines.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, there's that to go into it too. Another question, but
So we are anti-tie.
Yeah, I'm anti-tie. I want to see a winner. I want to see a winner, but I understand why soccer does it,
Yeah.
especially for like TV time. 'Cause-
I will say 4-time.
4
Yeah,
tie.
4.
I'm for it too.
3-2. Lost by slim vote.
All right, well there we have it.
And there were 3 soccer fans.
What a coincidence.
Right?